Welcome to Freedom Decoded. We're
Demir and Carey Bentley. We're productivity coaches, lifestyle optimizers, and adventurers who love to experiment with new ways of living and working.
Professionally, we help other people get back in control of their life and get on their path to their ideal life.
You can learn more about what we do at lifehackmethod.com.
And this is the podcast where we let our hair down and give you the peek behind the curtain into our freedom lifestyle.
So as the business grows, the worry has suddenly become, heck, are we growing profitably? Because it's all too easy to grow top line and then sort of forget about your bottom line because you're pouring so much cash just trying to build the top line. And so honestly, we never thought that our business would get as big as it is now. But now that we're in the multi-seven figures, all of a sudden, this question has become super top of mind for us.
Yeah, exactly. Most businesses can grow top line, but they're silently eroding their bottom line and actually trapping the owner in the business in the process. And that's how sometimes 5-10 years go by where you're always taking what seems to be the right next step and you end up trapped in a business that is unprofitable. You are actually getting paid the least in your own business. So today we want to talk about our productivity business. Is it doomed? We had an audit and the results will be revealed here and now.
So we started to see some early warning signs that we were going to be growing our top line and not really necessarily growing our bottom line, or seeing very minimal growth in our bottom line. Yeah. And that's not the kind of business we know will succeed in the long run. It's not the kind of business that serves our lifestyle design. And so we were like, ooh, we need to take action on this and it needs to be right now. So we heeded that early warning sign right away, and we found someone who could help us take a look at that.
Yeah. I can't tell you how many people that we know who had sort of windows of profitability and good lifestyle design in their business, but there tends to be this march in one singular direction, which is like bigger, 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 more, more, more. And you can get to these points in your business where you don't recognize that actually my profitability is eroding, or I'm not growing my profitability even as I grow the top line of the business. And you can find yourself in a place where you're managing more people than you ever wanted to manage. You've got less time to yourself than you've ever had. And strangely, when you look at your bank account, you're not stacking the fat stacks that you want to stack or that you've stacked before. And I've actually had clients who said, why did I grow my business to 3 million? I am actually making the same amount of money at the end of the year as I was at 1 million. But now I manage twice the people and deal with twice the BS. What gives?
Right. And that is definitely not the position we wanted to be in. So the lesson here is, hey, heed those early warning signs. Don't get distracted by other metrics. Don't try to make excuses for the problems. We got to face them head on and attack them early, because early is always better. Prevention is always better than trying to fix everything once the damage is done.
Well, because then you don't have that sunk cost mentality. I can tell you, when you don't set the right metric, which you have from day one, your metric has always been how much money are we taking out of the business and how profitable is the business. You've been laser focused on those, what I think are the right metrics. But also when you've tried to make a business work in a certain iteration for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, you can start to have this sunk cost problem where you're like, well, I've been trying to make this work. I just want this to work before I change anything. And it just becomes harder to change. So when you say heed those early warning signs, I hear so much in that, not just it's better to take action sooner than later, but also think about all the downstream things that happen. You get more tired. Right. So you got less energy after 5 years of doing the wrong thing and having to turn around and then do the right thing. And you've got all this sunk cost and investment and team and staff members you're going to have to fire now to change and right size the business.
Right. No one wants to do that. That'd be really bad. But I mean, that's also why I recognize that, hey, I'm a little bit blind. You and I both are a little bit blind because it is our own business. And so we kind of felt like the sense of confusion, like there's so many directions we could take here. What's the best, most leveraged direction? Because like our Lifehack method teaches is like, hey, there's a million possible solutions to this problem. Which one is the most leveraged and the most straightforward for where you're at this point in time?
So we preach this idea of get radical clarity, right? And we created a life map, and that the life map included our outcomes for the business. So we had a certain degree of clarity, but we didn't feel like it was radical clarity. We had ideas for where to take the business, but we weren't like 100%. And we had some nagging sort of
Like I said, like we never thought the business would get so big. And so it does become a little bit more precarious where you're like, well, I don't want to like accidentally mess it up. I'm not like trained for this, so I would rather seek outside help. And so that's what we decided to do. We're like, okay, cool. There are people out there who have been through this, who have coached other companies in the exact problem that we're having right now. Let's just go find that person.
And I'm always stunned with people. People always come to me and they're like, Demir, I'm doing something I've never done before. And I say, great. That means that you're out of your comfort zone and you're pushing yourself into new, different boundaries. And they're like, yeah, but I don't know the rules of this new game and I don't know the tactics that work. And I'm always like, okay, go find somebody and pay them to tell you, because you're probably not Sam Altman and OpenAI, breaking new ground, going where nobody has ever gone before. Most likely me, you, most of our clients, you're going somewhere that somebody else has tread before. Let's go talk to that person.
Right, exactly. I love this. It's such a shortcut. And we tell our clients this all the time. It's like, hey, you're struggling with something in your productivity. It's like, guess what? That's why we're here, to help shortcut you past all those basic mistakes that other people are making. And so who we decided to hire was a great business auditor and great business consultant. Her name is Jessica Marks. Had a fabulous experience working with her. Could not recommend her and her company more. The company name is Tailored Premier. And I wanted to be clear here that we were specifically looking for a consultant, not a business coach. And the difference is coaches help you come up with your own solutions and brainstorm the problem and work through what you want to do. Our problem was we were 100% clear on what we wanted to do, and we had a large solution set in front of us. What we needed is a consultant who's much more focused on just telling you what would be best based on their years and decades of experience. Totally. And this is key. You want to find a consultant who has vast experience in the particular area that you're trying to get help with. So that's why we wanted to sort of like have Jessica come in and do a full in-depth business audit where we provided her with like so much information about the business and our offer and our product suite and our team and just everything. And she was then able to be informed and come back with some really great ideas.
We're going to talk about 3 solutions that she turned us on to. But I think before we get that, I think the lesson for me at this phase of bringing somebody new in is just that it's so worth it to pay for clarity and information. So worth it. Even if that clarity and information just validates what you already thought you were going to do. I can't tell you, we had like too many things that we thought were good ideas. And for them to be like, this good idea, not that idea. Have you thought about this idea? I mean, that alone is just everything that we needed.
Right. Exactly. And gives you that extra confidence that you're doing the right thing too. And being led by somebody who's just a little bit further ahead than you are too. So in terms of the primary 3 recommendations from the business audit, good news, our business is not doomed, guys. So yay.
Sorry for the clickbait.
The number one thing was we needed to bring our cost of advertising down. Now, this is something we talked about in our 2023 business review. It's something we knew was an issue, and we've already been taking steps to fix it. But what Jessica was able to point out to us was sort of like the magnitude of the problem and just how it was setting up the business in a poor position over the next 5 or 10 years. So she really focused us in on not like, hey, let's not just make some like small changes here. Let's really try to tackle this problem as one of the number 1 biggest problems that we're facing in the business right now.
Love it. Result number 2 that I think they really turned us on to was this idea that we need to make some shifts in the team to build an operational resilience. Again, if you go back to our year planning session where we actually talked about what our plan was for the year, this is something we had a big target on ourselves. So it's not as if we didn't know this, but we could really use the advice and the consulting of somebody who's done this repeatedly with other people, because we were sort of like, oh, okay, we have 5 different ways we could reorg our team and 5 different potential like maps that we could create, org charts, and just to have somebody else to bounce that against and for them to say, yeah, it should be like this and you should be thinking about this and this is who should hire first, second, and third. That was just so relieving to be, and it was so obvious.
Right.
Just a little second. When a consultant comes to you with a great idea that's in line with an idea that you already had, but better, often it can have such an impression of like common sense that you can almost devalue it afterwards. Meaning it's so obvious the moment they said it, like here's the org chart you should go for, that you permanently shift and think, oh yeah, that's obvious. And you can almost get to a point where you're like, well, what did they even do? I mean, I already knew that I needed to reorg, and it's so simple.
No, you didn't.
Simplicity and clarity to the degree that you feel like it's forehead slapping, like duh, common sense. That's what you're paying for with a consultant. Don't mistake their professionalism and their ability to crunch something down into something so clear for like, oh, they didn't do anything.
Right.
And there's a fine line.
That's so true. And I knew that I had some confusion around the team org chart. I've never managed a team of this size before. And one of the problems I brought to her was like, I don't know if I want to be managing a team this size. Like, I don't feel like it's necessary for a business our size. I feel like we should have even a smaller team. And she was, first of all, able to validate that feeling. And also understanding that, hey, you can skin this cat in multiple different ways. So if it's not working for me, then there is a way to change it. But then she was able to provide some really concrete examples of what should be changed and what I should be even paying on a salary basis to various people, which was so helpful because sometimes you do feel like you're in this black box where you're like, nobody will tell me anything. Like, who am I supposed to go to for this information? Like, I just need to know what is the standard rate of pay for somebody who can do this. Yeah. And you start going crazy sometimes. So, that result of just like, hey, we need to build in more operational resilience. We need to remove myself more from the day-to-day operations of the business and continue to do that as I prepare for maternity leave. That was all like a really, really big takeaway from the audit.
Love it.
And the third big takeaway from the business audit is there's some pretty easy yet fundamental changes we need to make to our primary offer, which is our Lifehack Tribe membership offer. The thing I loved about these recommendations was it was like, they're so easy to make these switches. It's just, oh, shift this pricing just a tiny bit, or just shift this policy just a tiny bit. Yeah. It doesn't require a ton of operational work for me, but it's going to increase our profitability, decrease the amount of like headaches we have with customer service requests and all that kind of thing, and just make everything run, I think, smoother and better.
You know what I loved about this the most? I think it's always easy to come in and be like, you're doing everything wrong, or you need to do something crazy and different and just like, let's smash everything. And with a business owner that's making like multiple seven figures, like you don't want to smash everything.
Right.
You want somebody to come in and like love your baby and recognize that there's something beautiful about the baby as it exists and recommend like small tweaks. And if it is a major tweak, have a really good argument about why it's going to be great for the baby. And I felt like Jessica brought this like the perfect mix of like tender care of like, hey, we're not here to overturn the apple cart, right? But also we got to make this better. Right. So very direct recommendations that were backed by her experience and just data.
Right. And her personal analysis of our business. Yeah. So I guess high level, the good news is our business isn't doomed, guys. Yay. We're so excited.
We're going to be around.
But also, hey, like it could have very easily been doomed if we did not heed those early warning signs or seek outside help or decided to take action when we did. So yeah, like phew, dodged a bullet on that one, hopefully. Yeah. And we look forward to seeing what the rest of 2024 and 2025 bring.